Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, we put off curating our own Zelda trilogies for another week. There was a mini direct. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I am joined, as I am always joined, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. Mark, how's it going?
It's going great. I mean, Patrick, I feel like we really do need to stress to listeners that we plan to curate our own Zelda trilogies at some point very soon. Next week, probably.
Next week, probably. We promise that this is a topic that we are excited to do. It's one of those like loosey-goosey, you start with one thing and then like you say some other things and then it's like fun in the end. Like, ooh, those are our favorite episodes. But the news just keeps happening, and I am referring, of course, here to the Nintendo news, which keeps happening, and not the world events, which are horrible. But we can talk about this, which is going to be fun and good. There was a Nintendo Direct Mini partner showcase. Did I get all that correct?
That's right. I think that's right.
It is tough to stay on top of these things. Basically, Shadow dropped. It just appeared on Twitter this morning, and so we have decided that that's what we're going to talk about today. That's it. That's what today is going to be. Before we get into it, a couple of things. One, would you like to borrow my copy of Sonic Forces? You know that you would. It is a game for the Nintendo Switch that I have owned and lent out to other people. You could be one of those future people if only you send us an email to Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com and give us a mailing address, and I send it to you. You play it or not for as long as you want, and then you send it back to me. It doesn't cost you anything. It is a perfect borrowing program. Another thing to get to very quickly, we would like your reviews on Apple Podcasts. If you have not reviewed us or have not, stolen your mom's phone to review us on her phone, you should go ahead and do that. We like seeing reviews in the North American podcast app. Anywhere you do it, we appreciate it. But that's where we see them. And then last little bit of business here. We are looking for Mario memories. October is the 35th anniversary of Super Mario Brothers or Mario Brothers or Donkey Kong or Mario. What is it the actual anniversary of?
I think it's the anniversary of Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, that would make sense because Donkey Kong would be older. Donkey Kong is got it, and Mario Brothers, so it's got to be Super Mario Brothers. But your memories don't have to be that specific. If it's Donkey Kong related, that's fine. On October 29th, we are going to be doing an episode all about our favorite Mario memories, and we wouldn't be able to do it without all of your great memories. So please write into us again at Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com. And just any stories you have about Mario games that you've played, times when you were dreaming about Mario, times when you were eating that Mario cereal.
You were when you first saw like Mario's nipples in Super Mario Odyssey.
Yeah, I mean, we were probably on this podcast. I'm sure it's documented. Speaking of writing us emails, a couple of people have written us some emails, and Mark, I want to get to them one at a time. We got an email from Jackson. Jackson writes in regard to our previous episode about the Indie World Showcase. Hey guys, thanks for bringing up those bear breasts. I thought I was the only one. Jackson, of course, is referring to the Bear and Breakfast. Was that the indie game where it sure looked like the bear had breasts. Hank
yeah,
the
so
bear.
Hank has like a tuft of hair on his chest. When you see him, just like facing forward, it all makes sense. But from the side, the tuft looks a little too much like breasts. I'm sorry, there's no getting around it.
I neglected to mention that the title of Jackson's email is "Finally I Can Breathe!" all caps with an exclamation point. So I'm glad, Jackson, that you feel seen. I felt seen as soon as Mark was like, "That looked like that bear has breasts, right?"
I think we're all thinking it, but we're all too embarrassed to say it. But I think together we can collectively admit that the tuft of hair looks like breasts.
And that's fine. The bear can have breasts. I'm fine with it. We all just need to acknowledge that we all see it. Jackson adds, P.S. Why aren't we talking about the No More Heroes 3 anime trailer? Mark, do you remember a No More Heroes 3 anime trailer?
I don't.
I have to admit that I am kind of intentionally letting No More Heroes 3 slip off my radar.
I am not particularly excited for the game. I did not really like the first game way back on the Wii. And so this is just kind of a series that has like passed me by, I think.
Yeah, or in some ways that I feel like I've passed it by. Like I think there is a time in my life when I would have been like excited about the kind of like intentionally edgy and immature like style of it, and like could engage with it on like a sincere level. But now I'm just kind of like I don't know. I'll pass, I think, is where we come down on it. If that trailer gets like bumped in front of us in the form of a Nintendo Direct or something, we will talk about it.
I have vague memories. Like, Jackson, is this a new trailer? Because I have vague memories of like something No More Heroes 3 related coming out. And it was like, at first it didn't seem like it was No More Heroes 3. And then at the end, it was revealed that it was No More Heroes 3. Was that in a Direct at some point?
Was that the one where there were like superheroes, and
yes,
like, it was the one where like there was an alien that like came to Earth, and then was that
in the mini the last
Travis Touchdown Strikes Back?
No, I think you know what, I don't know. Jackson, help us out.
No one knows. Jackson, that's why we're not talking about it, is that we are confused by it. So thank you for writing in, Jackson. Our next email comes from Patrick. Patrick writes, hello all. Thank you for being you. I love the show and listen to it all the time. I've emailed before asking about Wii games, and I thought I'd send another one because I had a few things on my mind. First off, I would be I am remiss to hear that Patrick is not liking the Final Fantasy VII remake. I'm thoroughly enchanted by it, but I can completely understand your issues with it. The truth is, I'm a sucker for all things Final Fantasy VII related, so I wasn't a hard fan to win over. So just to address that very quickly, I have played a little bit more now. I've been playing it a lot with my buddy Andrew, using the PlayStation Share Play feature, which again is magic. Everyone should be doing it all the time. He lives in Washington, D.C. I live in Los Angeles, and we are playing the game together. We hand the controller back and forth.
That's so cool.
3,000 miles away. It's so cool. So I think I have enjoyed the combat. I enjoy it even more during the periods where he and I aren't also chatting while playing, like when I can really focus on it. The combat's really good. I still think that there are so many elements of the like story presentation and just like the kind of things that the story focuses on that feel like bloated and so JRPG-y that I'm just like, oh god, you guys, come on, just be cool for a second.
What I'm delighted by in this, is that, and hopefully this makes some amount of sense, is that the Patrick that I'm talking to right now is not enjoying his time with the game. The Patrick who wrote in is enjoying his time with the game, and as far as I can tell, like, I've never seen you guys in the same room together, so...
Yeah, neither have I. We could be the same person. He goes on to more Nintendo-specific questions here. He says, second, I've been using video games to cope with the darkest timeline that we are currently living through. Same, Patrick. So maybe we are the same person. In an effort to survive this apocalypse, I've bought a ridiculous amount of Nintendo games that I can play while hiding from gangs of marauders scouring the wasteland. I have a backlog that I was hoping to hear your thoughts on. So, Mark, are you ready to hear a backlog?
Yeah, rapid fire.
Okay, so this is in the Nintendo 3DS/DS category. Final Fantasy Tactics Advance 2.
I played the first one on the Game Boy Advance, I think, and I didn't get it at the time. So I don't know. I have no opinion.
Professor Layton in the Unwound Future.
Ooh, which one is that? I do like the Professor Layton games, but I think they have to be taken in moderation.
Golden Sun Dark Dawn.
No opinion.
That's the DS one. Yeah, no opinion on that one. Kid Icarus. I assume that is, now we have to be clear here. Is this Kid Icarus Uprising? Is that the name of that game? Because that one, I would say deprioritize that. It is a pain to hold. It is a cool experience, but no one ever worked out the control. If this is the Kid Icarus 3D Classics that's available on the 3DS, absolutely play it. It is the best version of that game and the best Kid Icarus game, period. Super Mario 2. Great game. Super Mario Brothers 2, I think is what he's saying. Great game. Oh, unless that's New Super Mario Brothers 2.
Which, again, that is another one I've never played.
Yeah, me neither. We should review that game for our Mario month.
Oh, yeah, we should. Great. I'm making a note. I'm writing it down.
We are programming on the fly. Mario and Luigi Dream Team. Mark, you played a little bit of that one, or at least you have it on your...
Like the tiniest bit. Yeah, okay. Like my Nintendo 3DS XL, it was like the year of Luigi one, and it came with that game preloaded. But I messed around with maybe an hour or two, but it's been so long, I can't even really remember.
And then the last three on the DS 3DS list are Pokemon Sapphire, Sonic Boom Fire and Ice, and Majora's Mask. Skip right to Majora's Mask is kind of my advice there. Obviously, you and I aren't the biggest Pokemon guys, but yeah, I mean, play Majora's Mask. It's a classic. The remake is great. So yeah, that's my advice there.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
And then on to Switch. Again, we're going to rapid fire these. The first one is Octopath Traveler. Again, the game cannot be completed. We have proven this incontrovertibly. Pokemon Sword, Astral Chain, Xenoblade Chronicles, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, and Super Paper Mario.
Tropical Freeze, for me, hands down, out of the ones I've played, which is not actually a ton on that list. For me, I would get Pokemon Let's Go over Sword. I really liked my time with Let's Go. I found, Shield to be fine, but I lost interest in it pretty fast, whereas, Let's Go, for whatever reason, really grabbed me. But I know that that's not necessarily, the consensus opinion.
Yeah, I think Donkey Kong Country is like the far and away winner on this one. That's a very good game. And also, we've probably offered this opinion a couple times before, but you don't even really have to suffer through it, but do suffer through the first world, and just know that the levels get way more interesting after the first.
Yep.
Patrick concludes by saying, "Yeah, I have problems." Anyways, I think I'm going to think of a Mario memory between now and whenever. Keep up the amazing work. I love your show. All the best, Patrick. Thank you, Patrick.
Yeah,
that's
thank
very
you, Patrick.
Sweet of you to say. And then this last email is from Ross. It's a simple one. Ross just writes, "Greetings. Regardless of what's going on in the world, week in, week out, you both have such amazing positive energy, and I truly appreciate it. I save your podcast for when I need a pick-me-up, and it never fails. And for that, I just wanted to say a quick thank you. Thanks, Ross." Thank you, Ross, for writing in with that. It has been a tough week. I grew up in Kenosha, Wisconsin, where all of the worst things in the world are happening right now. And so I have felt very down, and feel like the darkness is closing in all around us. So it's nice to hear that from someone else, that the show is bringing them some joy. This show brings me quite a bit of joy.
Same.
Getting to talk to you, Mark, about Nintendo stuff twice a week is one of the great pleasures of my quarantine. So yeah, thank you everyone for listening to this, and thank you for writing in. Still don't have any Mario memories from you guys, so send in your Mario memories, please. Okay, Mark, are you ready to get into discussing this Nintendo Direct mini partner showcase?
Yes, let's do it.
Truly shadow dropped this one. We had no warning. No warning whatsoever.
So yeah, absolutely. I think like we were all of us were focused on Friday because that's what the the rumors that the internet was providing us. And I've got to say, I am a broken man. I no longer like I have been fooled too many times. And so now I truly believe that no Nintendo Directs are coming for the foreseeable future. Like I just don't.
So you think this
happening.
is it? You think that the rumored thing that we saw, that this was it?
I kind of do. I mean, or I guess what I'm saying is, I mean, yeah, I kind of do. I think that there will be other stuff. I think there's probably one more like holiday game that's looming. And it's maybe the 3D Mario games. But who knows if that's true. But it seems to me like we are going to see like partner showcases, and we're going to see like Twitter stealth drops, and then maybe like Treehouse Live or something if they feel the need.
Mark, I'm going to take the opposite tact. I still think we're going to see a direct from Nintendo this Friday. I'm holding on to hope.
Why do it to yourself?
Because if we are expecting a big Nintendo Direct, I think the thing that we are legitimately expecting is a Mario showcase of some kind, right? That we are going to get some information on Mario, re-releases, remasters, ports, Super Mario 3D World of Deluxe or something along those lines. I think is going to be largely Mario. And at this point, last week we had an indie showcase. This week we're having a partner showcase. I think that is to clear the slate. There are big and or important announcements in both these things, but they're just getting out of the way so that we can just talk about Mario.
Oh, Patrick, even you saying that has me excited, and that's not what I want to feel. I'm
gonna pump you up, Mark. I'm gonna pump you up. Let's get excited. Speaking of let's get excited, how you said you were a broken man.
Well, just because I had like geared myself up, for like, oh man, like a direct, or we're going to get some big news. I do have to say though that like compared for whatever reason, compared to the previous partner showcase, I actually like really enjoyed this one.
That's interesting. This is one of the first Nintendo presentations in a long time that I, on my first watch, I kind of scrubbed through it. Like I saw the announcement and then like kind of scrubbed to the end of the trailer and then waited for the next announcement and scrubbed again. And then I went back through it to experience the thing in its entirety. But yeah, for whatever reason, I think because I have built up my expectation that we're going to get something big and huge, I was let down by this announcement. And so everything that came after it, I was a little bit like, what are you doing, Nintendo?
I mean, I can't claim that like I'm actively looking to pick up any of these games or even particularly excited about them. Although I do have to say that I legitimately gasped when Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 was announced.
I mean, me too. That is a genuinely exciting announcement. When they start to show off what Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 actually is, I was a little bit more like, this is just Puyo Puyo Tetris. So I don't know. I think that upon a second watch, I am generally happier with it than I was, just get it in the morning and suddenly have all of the information, all the announcements at once. So let's kind of approach this thing by the numbers like we did last week. This was 1 minute and 46 seconds long. It featured 11 games.
It was 11 minutes and 46 seconds long, right? Not 1 minute and 46 seconds. What did I say?
Yeah, that's right. 11 minutes. 11 hours, 1 minute, and 47 seconds. It featured 11 games and 1 DLC pack. 1 game available right now, 8 different release dates, and 4 release windows. And one of those windows is September, which is that's September starts next week. September starts on Tuesday. So like, anyway, maybe nail down that date, guys. There were 4 music games here and 3 games from Square Enix. Or 5 if you want to count each of the Final Fantasy Legends games as separate games. So there were a few kind of like through lines through this thing in the form of music games and Square Enix games, which I think is, I mean, it makes it easy to conceptualize it and think about it and talk about it, and is maybe just it's strange. Do you see there why so many music games? I guess is my question.
I don't know, and it's also interesting because like the one announcement I really remember from the previous partner showcase was like the Cadence of Hyrule DLC. So yeah, no, I thought the same thing when it was kind of like rhythm game after rhythm game after rhythm game or music game. But one of the reasons I liked this partner showcase more than I liked the other one was because like the other one was like 10 minutes long. A little over 10 minutes, and I think it had 3 announcements total, and so it like really kind of like when the announcements are you're a little bit indifferent about, like I don't really need to spend a lot of time in them, and so I'd like this one because it was like each game pretty much got like a minute and then you were on to the next thing, so nothing really wore out its welcome. It felt like you got a lot more news, even if I like don't particularly care about a ton of the news.
Yeah, I think that one thing that is similar between both of these is that like so in the previous one we got the 2 Atlas announcements of Shin Megami Tensei 4 or 3
right.
remake.
Yeah, that's right.
And Shin Megami Tensei 5. And having like
totally
release windows for both of those.
Yeah.
So like big announcements from Atlas, 2 big announcements from Atlas, but not the announcements from Atlas that people like really want. And I feel like we got a similar thing here with Square Enix announcements, where there's like the Kingdom Hearts music game, the Saga collection, and Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, which isn't an announcement, but just sort of reminding you that it's coming out this week. And all of those are like, they're neat, but like not the kind of, if they were putting out any of the Final Fantasy collections that came out on PlayStation back in the day, like the one that has 5 and 6 or 4 and Chrono Trigger in it, like those would be big deals. And these are just sort of like, or any of the other Kingdom Hearts games, like all of that would be kind of a bigger deal than what they announced here.
Yeah, totally.
Well, shall we go through the announcements, Mark, one by one?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so first up, I've alluded to it already, is of course Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory, which has a release date of November 13th. It is the Kingdom Hearts rhythm game, very much in the same vein as Final Fantasy Theatrhythm on the 3DS, except it's all Kingdom Hearts stuff. They showed off a variety of modes, including Memory Drive, where you go back and like play through scenes in or songs already featured in Kingdom Hearts, which I think is how there are a lot of Disney songs in this. Does it seem like there are a lot? We heard Let It Go.
We heard Let It Go. I'm assuming that is like, that's a pretty big one to get, so maybe they like that was their licensing budget, but I'm assuming that like there are going to be other ones as well, even though that's the only one they showed off.
Let It Go is also a sequence in Kingdom Hearts 3.
I see what you're saying. Yes, I think you're correct. I think you're correct that like it's because of memories. A melody of memory, one might say.
Very good. And then also boss battles, which I'm not really sure how this game works. It is visually confusing to me, where you can tap along in time to the music and fight bosses or something.
The boss battles seemed really funny, like in the little clip that I remember them showing, because it's like Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty, and she's in like a big like boss battle room. But then your heroes are like running around her, seemingly in like a circle while she's like doing stuff, but then there's music notes. I don't know. Clearly this is not for me, but it's that type of zany that
what a statement though. Clearly this is not for me. It's a JRPG with it's a music game based on a JRPG with Disney elements. Is that not for you?
In a series that like I haven't played an entry in for a decade at this point. but I like that it exists. Because just the same way I like the fact that like that Final Fantasy Theat Rhythm game exists, where it's like, yes, more weird like mashups of things like this.
Yeah, definitely more weird mashups. I'm in for that as well. The game also includes a music player and access to story cinematics if you want to relive scenes from the entire complex Kingdom Hearts saga. And then they kind of go out on this trailer by saying experience an all new chapter. So I think for Kingdom Hearts completionists, this is going to that you're going to need to play this game and need to experience it. Yeah.
Do you remember hearing if Kingdom Hearts 3 sets up, like, is there room for a sequel, or is like Kingdom Hearts 3 closing the book on like the major like numbered entries, and then, you know, we'll have like spin-offs and other stuff like that probably in the future?
So it's my understanding that the DLC to Kingdom Hearts, I don't want to spoil it. I have allowed myself to be spoiled because I don't understand the stories of these games anyway. But that there is in the DLC and therefore true ending to Kingdom Hearts 3, something happens and is revealed that is so like earth-shattering that it basically throws the entire existence of the whole series into question.
Yeah.
So I mean, probably.
Yeah, because as an observer, like I am happy that Kingdom Hearts 3 like finally came out, but I have to admit that I did enjoy when like all the like side games or not like numbered sequels would come out, and they would have like little hints and teases of what would like eventually become Kingdom Hearts 3. And so in my heart of hearts, I would love if Melody of Memory, that all new chapter, like begins to plant the seeds for like something else that isn't going to pay off for another like decade.
Yeah, well, and I think it's possible that it might, because the fans of Kingdom Hearts were excited about the cover art that was shown off for this, which is a reference to the Kingdom Hearts all-in-one package, or the complete package, whatever it's called, which has that package has Sora sitting on a throne. Sora's like the main hero of the series, and he's the throne is in front of a bunch of pictures that show scenes from the other games in the series that are all part of this collection. This, however, showed Kiari, I believe is the name of the character, sitting on a similar throne, and it has photographs from the individual like scenes and music videos from this game, and people were very excited about that. And again, I think that figures into the earth-shattering nature of the true DLC ending, which again I don't want to spoil.
I think I'm a little bit like a dog or like a horse, where I like feel what other people are feeling, because I like look, I'm not in the Kingdom Hearts fandom, but I just like being included in like when people are excited about something, it's fun for like everybody to be excited about something.
Yeah, and look, I am also just happy to be around other people who are excited about something. So that's music game number 1. We move on then to music game number 2, which is Fuser, coming out fall 2020. This is a collaborative music mixer game from Harmonix. And they just announced that they announced 3 new songs. Fuser is a game that already exists and is out on other platforms. Is that right?
Checking.
Yeah, all right. Mark
sure.
is looking.
Yes, yeah. It already exists, and possibly it's already on. Wait. I don't know that it's out on any platform, but it is coming to platforms later this year.
All right, which is the information that we have here. I guess they just announced 3 more songs coming to it: "Ghosts and Stuff" by Deadmau5, "Dance Monkey" by Tones and I, and "Blinding Light" by The Weeknd. This doesn't appear to be a rhythm game, but sort of a mixing game, or like a collaborative music game. It seems kind of interesting. I couldn't tell you what the gameplay of this thing is from looking at the short video of it.
Right. No, but I do think it's interesting that like the part that they showed off was, like, oh, playing with your friends and being able to like react to your friends' mixes and stuff like that. But then at the end, it determines like what is the best mix. And it is my own ignorance that it's like, I don't know how you would measure that.
I mean, like, is there a way to objectively measure the best mix? I don't think so. All right, so that's rhythm game number 2. Rhythm game number 3 is Taiko no Tatsujin Rhythm Adventure Pack, which is the two Taiko Drum Master adventure games all bundled together. Mark, have you ever played a Taiko Drum Master game?
No, I haven't. In fact, I only know it as like an arcade game. And then seeing this like adventure pack, which, sorry if you already said this, is this a new? It's 2 games in one pack. But
Yes.
But do you play it with like the drum accessory?
Yes. So I mean, I think I'm not sure exactly what the Switch setup is. I'm sure you can play it without a drum and just like playing with the the
Joy-Con.
Joy-Con. Jeez, can't remember the name of the controllers. Yeah, or actually use
Gotcha.
the actual drum itself.
I was just surprised, or because I didn't know very much about it, I was like, these games are really cute. Like the art style's very appealing. Like this little like drum mascot thing. Like it's weird, but like it's like a dog. I'm so into this.
Yeah, totally charming. My buddy Paul in college was really into the Taiko Drum Master series. It was like coming right on the heels of Donkey Konga, which he and I played together a lot. And then he was like, Donkey Konga's over. Now it's time for Taiko Drum Master. And like he got really into it, and it was always fun to mess around with that. So you know, while this also has it's a role playing game, right? So you're still doing rhythm based games and still playing along with various songs and pieces of music, but there is a story that ties it all together. It made me want to just pick up a regular Taiko Drum Master game. But yeah, it's neat to see this thing come to Switch. That is music game number 3. Next was World of Tanks Blitz.
I have nothing to say about this. Like tanks don't interest me. I just have it's just not for me.
It's available today. It's free to play. 7-on-7 tank battles, and at one point it looks like they're on the moon. So
yeah. That was the part that I was like, that potentially seems fun.
Why isn't that the whole game? Is tanks on the moon, and then just call it Tanks on the Moon?
Maybe because in practice it's not fun.
Yeah, that's true. Probably like all tank games, the actual tanking is no fun. Next up was Big Rumble Boxing Creed Champions. Mark, is this part of the Ready to Rumble series of boxing games? Do you remember those?
Oh, no.
They started on like the Dreamcast and the PlayStation 2 series.
Yeah.
Generation.
I don't think it is. I think it's a mobile game. I think like we're taking like a little like mobile break in here, because I think World of Tanks Blitz is a mobile game. Then I think Big Rumble Boxing Creed Champions is also a mobile game that is now making its way to Switch.
Interesting. Because one of the things that they sort of highlighted here was all of the Rocky and Creed content that is in here. You can play as characters and play matches from the Rocky and Creed series, which I guess is how we have to refer to those movies now. Like they are part of the Rocky and or Creed series,
right? How familiar are you with like the Rocky movies? Like, was it? I remember my parents renting like Rocky 1, and then I've seen like on TNT or something pieces of all of them. But the only one that I've ever really liked was like the first Creed movie.
The only Rocky or Creed content I've ever taken in was doing the PSVR demo of the Creed game at E3 2 years ago. So I'm not particularly attached to the series. I don't like boxing, generally speaking. So this was never going to speak to me. I don't think on any level.
Yes. Boxing is amazing to me. It's like one of those things where it's like, how do you know you're good at it?
Okay, now that's interesting. What do you mean?
Well, like, why? Like, my brain just so does not work in a way where I'm like, I think I would be good at boxing. Like, boxing is a thing I would like to try. But clearly for some people, they're like, I think I would be really good at this and are willing to try it.
I mean, is that just the kind of person that's like, yeah, I could hit someone in the face? Is that all that is?
Yeah, but I mean, for some people, it really works out.
Yeah, but okay, that's coming out spring 2021. Next up was the Collection of Saga Final Fantasy Legend, which is out December 15th. This one does warrant a little bit of explanation because Collection of Saga Final Fantasy Legend is a confusing collection of words that don't mean a lot if you're not deeply involved with both the Final Fantasy and the Saga series for the last 30 years. So there were a series of games called Final Fantasy Legend 1, 2, and 3 that came out on the original Game Boy that were not called that in Japan. They were part of a different series called Saga, but the only like role-playing franchise that was really working in the States at that time was Final Fantasy, so they just named them that. Same reason that the first Seiken Densetsu game on the Game Boy, instead of being called Whatever of Mana, is called Final Fantasy Adventure. That's just the only brand they had that worked, and so everything became Final Fantasy. And so Saga, there have also just been a series of those games starting. I think the Saga Frontier is a PlayStation game originally, and then they've continued to put them out. Octopath Traveler feels very much like a Saga game, where there are just characters all around a large world, and they feel way more open and less like driven down a single narrative corridor than a Final Fantasy game. And they've got like a decent reputation, but I don't know that anyone is going to argue that any Saga game is a Stone Cold classic.
They're very they have a reputation for being very ambitious games that are maybe a little bit broken. Especially I think the first one, which I think have you talked about Patrick in an episode we did with friend of the show Greg Smith on right. Weird games.
Yes. It is a game where you climb a tower and you exit the tower on various levels and find different worlds. And when you reach the top of the tower, you fight and destroy God. So, it's a basic JRPG stuff. And I gotta say, I was tempted at the idea of playing the original Final Fantasy Legend again. But I gotta say, I am not a fan of the overlay that's on this thing.
It's so
which
ugly.
Just screams mobile game, right? Because there's a touchscreen D-pad and like touchscreen buttons.
Yeah. Actually, it's interesting. When I saw that, I didn't make the connection, but you're right. It totally does seem like the kind of overlay you would have on like your phone. It also makes me weird, like when we were talking about Square Enix being represented in this at the beginning of the episode, and you mentioned like announcements that people would be really excited for. Like it did make me think like, oh my gosh, I would love the DS version of Chrono Trigger to come to the Switch. But this totally makes me feel like if a version did come to Switch, it would probably be like the not very good PC version that's kind of based on like the mobile version,
the mobile port,
which is disappointing.
Yeah, and I mean the same thing could be said of Final Fantasy 3/6. But man, I mean there's just so much that I wish Square Enix would port over. There's a whole boat full of Dragon Quest games that I'd like to be able to play on that thing. And they're like, nah, bring the Saga collection over. It's a mobile port. Who cares? So this one feels a little disappointing, but there is like a kernel of nostalgia for me. So I may still end up playing this thing, especially if I can turn that overlay off.
Yeah.
That would be clutch.
They're also including some like other stuff, which first of all, I don't know. Maybe these games are already out on mobile, and so these features like high speed mode and stuff like that like already exist. And then they're also saying that it's the 30th anniversary of the series, so it includes like a special anniversary song, which I want to hear. Like, is it programmed for a Game Boy? Is it does it have lyrics? What's going on here?
I remember having the like code to unlock the like the sound test menu in the original Final Fantasy Legend, and really loved cycling through because you could do there were two things. You could play a piece of music and then also trigger sound effects. And I remember like setting it to different sound effects and like playing the song and like kind of accenting things with it. I wasted too much time with my little Game Boy on that, making some cool tracks. And I guess that would still be part of this. So, okay, all right, I've changed my mind. I'm in. Next up was Just Dance 2021, out November 12th. Mark, I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, I mean, not much to say. It looks just like another Just Dance game. To me, the most interesting part about this trailer is it's like, I don't think they are, I think they're just using stock footage of people dancing, because nobody's holding like a Joy-Con, nobody's holding like mobile phones like you can also play the game with. So I think it's just cobbled together with footage of the game and then like stock footage of people dancing. That's all I have to say about this. I like Just Dance, but there's not, it is what it is.
This was this game was being advertised here with Dance Monkey by Tones and I, which had been mentioned previously in this showcase. That song was mentioned in the Fuser trailer.
So funny. I didn't even
Isn't weird?
Make that connection. It's a good get, apparently. It's big news.
I tell you what, nothing makes me feel older than a song like Dance Monkey appearing twice in the showcase and me being like, what's Dance Monkey? What's Tones and I have no idea. I felt like an old, out of touch man, which I am. So that's fine. That is the fourth and final music game in this direct. Next up, the aforementioned Puyo Puyo Tetris 2, which is out December 8th.
Never thought that, for whatever reason, I was in my head, I decided that Puyo Puyo Tetris was never getting a sequel. I legitimately gasped when this was announced.
Yeah, and it is surprising. They said, that the old modes are returning, the versus mode, party modes, etc. But then there's also a new skill battle mode, which they say like, which has some surprises in it. Being very cagey on what like the actual new features of this game are. There is an adventure mode. There was an adventure mode in the previous one. They say that this, quote, adventure mode, quote, starring a vibrant cast and a brand new story.
The story in the first one is completely off the rails bonkers with like aliens and
Oh, yeah, like all the Tetris people are from outer space. Like it's the whole thing is like wall-to-wall nonsense. And it is some of the most over the top like line reads and storytelling that you'll get in anything. So I don't really know that a new adventure mode is it's really an attractive selling point. The original adventure mode is not something that I could get through, not because of the challenge of the game and not because I was sick of playing Puyo or Tetris or Puyo and Tetris, but because I didn't want to watch those story things anymore. There's an expanded online mode for up to 4 players playing at once, which is cool and is something I could see myself getting into. They also tease that there is more to reveal. Mark, what do you think could be the more to reveal in Puyo Puyo Tetris 2?
I'm imagining like a World of Light type scenario.
I hope it is the inclusion of Dr. Mario. Puyo Puyo Tetris Dr. Mario. That's all I want.
That would be amazing. And then what if also, for whatever reason, Waluigi like is a character in this game because Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 is going to do what Sakurai won't?
Oh man, I don't know what that means. Oh, I see. because it's better than Smash Brothers. I get it. Okay, after that, it goes to a little bit of a sizzle reel, I guess, to go out on with 4 more announcements. The first of which is Minecraft Dungeons Creeping Winter DLC, which is coming out this September. Again, I don't know why you can't nail down that date. Just like a little bit more. September is so close. Are we playing this thing next week or are we playing it in 5 weeks? No one can tell you. After that is Jump Force Deluxe Edition, which is the sort of manga mashup fighting game, which has been on other platforms before. It's coming out August 28th. Captain Tsubasa Rise of New Champions, which is a sort of anime soccer game, also out on the 28th. And then just a reminder that Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered Edition is out on August 27th.
Which
all closed out.
We talked about picking up. I don't know if you've seen any of like the reviews or impressions that are coming out about it. It seems like a little disappointing if you want to play it in co-op, because you can only play the dungeons and only the person who's like the host actually makes progress.
Which is a bummer and not part of what they laid out in their like free mode versus like the full pay mode announcements earlier. I believe IGN gave it a 3, and I don't put it, review scores, whatever. But like 3 is pretty bad.
3 is pretty bad.
And evidently the load times are atrocious. So I believe on Tuesday you and I said, or at least I said, I'm going to hold out for reviews, and if reviews are decent, then you and I will jump in. I think at this point I'm going to say I'm not going to jump into this game. How are you feeling, Mark?
Yeah, I think you're right, and I'm so glad you remembered that that you said that, because that is, of course, our out.
Yes, absolutely. Look, Mark, always build in and out. Now, the one place I refuse to build in and out is in the never-ending hype cycle about the Nintendo Direct that we are definitely going to get on Friday. Get excited about it. Get your hopes up. Okay, Mark. So that was it. That was the entirety of the Nintendo Direct Mini partner showcase. Overall. Now that we've got it in the rearview mirror and we've talked about it, we've talked about all the rhythm games, we've talked about all the Square Enix games. How do you feel about this thing now?
If we are rating the partner showcases on their own scale, I would say that based on the partner showcases that we have seen, I would give this an 8, and the previous one a 4. So I like this one much more.
I think it is definitely more content than the previous one. If I can remember, let's see if I can do this. So I think the first one was the Cadence of Hyrule DLC, and then there were 2 lackluster announcements. One of them being the WWE game.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
And what wasn't really an announcement in any capacity. And the other one was, I cannot remember what that other game was. And then the Shin Megami Tensei announcement. So yeah, I think this is at least twice the showcase that the previous one was. I didn't like this as much as the indie showcase that we saw last week.
Oh, for sure.
In last week's indie showcase, the more I reflect on it, the more time we have away from it, the more I've actually played the games around that thing. I think was fire. It was great. Let's have those every week. Okay. That's going to be it for this discussion. Let's close that out. I would also be interested to see how everyone else is feeling at the moment. Are you, as Mark alluded to at the beginning of this episode, a broken man from seeing these announcements, or is there something in here you desperately want to play? You can always let us know. Write in to Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com. All right, that's going to do it for this episode, right? We're done. We're out of here. Great. Please remember to rate, review, subscribe on Apple Podcasts if you like the episode. Please share it on Facebook or Twitter or wherever you share stuff. In-person sharing is very good sharing because people actually listen when someone says, hey, I listened to the show and I liked it and I think you would like it too. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Patrick_Ellers. Mark is at MKE Mitchell, and the show is at Nin Cart Society. We also have a Facebook page, which is just Nintendo Cartridge Society. Olivia Duncan made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Eller saying, was this episode a secret hint at Kingdom Hearts 4? Thanks for listening.
Hey Rachel, Oscar.
Yeah, Claire?
Do you love Disney movies?
Uh-huh.
Have you seen them all?
Not all of them.
What do you guys think if we watch them all in chronological order and then talk about them?
Ooh. Oh, and what if we could talk about it with some of our favorite friends?
I love that.
Yeah, and what if we do it inside the Disney Vault?
You know, that's the name of our podcast, Inside the Disney Vault on Campfire Media.
Yeah, check us out on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to yours.
That's Inside the Disney Vault.
Let's go!
Woo!
Campfire.